What a spicy little intro we got there. Welcome to the Proving Grounds, powered by Verizon. I'm Mazel, and joined by our lovely guest today, we've got Solaria. Solaria, how are you doing? Are you excited to join the Proving Grounds shenanigans?
Sure.
It's awesome to have you. I'm excited to get your perspective on anything. And speaking of your perspective, let's talk a little bit about you. I'm going to give you the stage here. Explain to me a little bit about your background.
Sure. I mean, I've been in just about every position for competitive esports. I've been a player, I've been a coach, I've been an assistant coach, I've been a manager. Like, I'm all over the place.
Goodness. So I gotta ask about the managerial aspect. Was it how much different is it from the managerial aspect to the coaching aspect? Obviously, very different in your job function,
Yes.
but how did you function with that?
It's crazy different. So I managed University of Western Ontario for 2 years. Well, 3-ish years. And
3-ish.
so a lot of it was a lot of it was juggling like school schedules with playing schedules, but like very different positions for sure.
So now going up from playing to doing coaching to managing, what I guess is your most missed aspect of the things that you've done? Which one kind of brings a tear to your eye or brings a little bit of happiness to you?
Honestly, like managing is probably my favorite one that I miss the most, just because you get to know everyone on like a personal level. Like you really get to know how someone is and what they're doing and like what they need to do good, and it's just nice.
I like it. Well, I'm excited to get your entire perspective from all the roles here today because we're going to have a lot of League of Legends to cover here. And to cover that League of Legends, we're going to go ahead and bring in our casters for the day. We have Cubby and Mr. Deserex himself coming to join us. So bring them on in. Look at those stern faces. Fellas, welcome to the desk.
Thank you so much, Mazel. Excited for this one. Been a while since I've seen CLG Academy, so hey, the Academy boys, it's always going to be a banger.
I was going to say, Cubby, it's feeling comfortable now, right? Like, we're feeling like we're right back into the regular season. Isn't it?
All Academy teams, but I would say it feels like the regular season, but the stakes are much higher. And when we look at past postseasons too, the 3 champions of Proving Grounds that are back from summer, Chad, Ryoma, Gamsu, all in action today in these series, all on different teams. And these guys are 2 best of 3s away from guaranteeing a top 4 finish. So stakes are pretty high. Excited to see who gets the wins today and gets to push that number down to 1 best of 3.
Exactly that. And speaking of this tournament going on now, the stakes that are all set, we got to bring up the bracket here to show a little bit of the journey that we have taken as we are cresting into the 3rd round of Proving Grounds. I can't believe we're already there. I was saying that all season long with Academy, and now I'm saying it again with Proving Grounds. But there it is, the Academy domination that we have seen all tournament long, rather, and just that one game going over to an amateur team, but it was a collegiate team.
I'm heartbroken. I'm very heartbroken in this case right now, Mazel. It's already well known that I'm a big time Winthrop fan. Seeing them go against TL Academy, which was one of my favorite Academy teams, broke my heart, but then the rest of amateur had to follow suit. It's not over though. You know, a lot of them going over to the lower bracket, which is about to be revealed right now.
Exactly that. And we'll get to see, you know, this is where the stakes really do come down. This is where your season is on the line. And we do see this round of games is going to be tough. It's a lot of amateur teams, as we did say. You do have TSM Academy in there and EG Academy, though, with their lives on the line.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited to see if some of these amateur teams can kind of bounce back in the lower bracket. And Solari, I do want to throw it over to you. I mean, what are you going to expect in the lower bracket? Like seeing some of these matchups, amateur is going to have to advance some of these amateur versus amateur matchups, but is there any team that like you really have your eye out for?
Honestly, I think Taco Gaming has what it takes to get up there. I think no team
Yes.
also
Okay.
has what it takes.
Yes.
I think
All right.
it will take some serious like rethinking how they play the game and their like winning points just because they're playing against Academy teams now, but they definitely can.
Now, my question following that up is, do you have any eyes on your Academy teams? Do you have any Academy teams who you're really following? By the way, we have a furry friend joining us. I love it.
As far as Academy teams goes, I really like 100 Thieves and I really like C9.
Okay. You're safe with those bets, I feel like. 100 Thieves, you got to check
Tough
in on
match
those
today.
stocks a little bit there. But it's going to be a fun one today for sure. Because, as we were saying before and foreshadowing too, Academy has done some amazing things to lead us into Proving Grounds. And Cubby, you had a little bit of a breakdown you wanted to give over that.
Yeah, I think one of the big surprises of Proving Grounds so far has been the fact that Amateur won in 20 in their games and did not pick up a single game in round 2. And I think for a lot of people at home, it's been, oh, like Amateur, is it a joke? Are these teams even ready to be here? And, for me, when we think about it, this is actually how the system should work. When you think about these Academy teams, they have LCS teams behind them. They have coaching staffs, positional coaches. And when you're going up against teams that sometimes have zero salary, have a couple of volunteers helping out, and have less experience overall, I think that this should be expected. And, we should praise our Academy teams for doing so. But for a lot of these amateur teams, just getting here in the first place is an accomplishment. You think of No Team, you have a 15-year-old jungler, not even old enough to play an Academy yet. The fact that we're able to qualify as the second highest amateur team, that is huge. And we'll have to see how a lot of these teams do in the lower bracket, but I think it's definitely a good sign that, the system for Academy and the developmental track that we have for these players, it works. And it's not just something that we have even seen in this tournament. It's something that we saw in Academy regular season. When we look at our top 4 teams in the standings from Academy, these are the 4 teams that have the least amount of rookies, the most amount of experience, the most LCS experience under their belts as well. So I think that this is something that we've seen a trend be, throughout the entire season, not just Proving Grounds. And if anything, it's something that signs that say Academy works. The fact that it's here, the more time you are here, you're getting better as a player. You are rounding out those skill sets, and that's what we want to see. And as much as I love the underdog stories and love seeing those upsets, we haven't seen a lot of it yet in this tournament, which kind of leaves it up. When are we going to start seeing that? And when is it going to come to fruition? Because it wouldn't be a double elimination, the best of bracket without some surprises along the way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the most interesting thing when we do bring up the Academy standings, at least the final standings in the regular season itself. You see how a lot of these teams shook out. And, I feel like we're still positioning a lot the same, Solaria. I don't know if you have any input on kind of the differences we've seen between these Academy teams as we've come into Proving Grounds.
Not particularly. Everything that I've seen from Academy so far in Proving Grounds is pretty much what I expect from Academy. I think Academy's gone exactly how I think it would go down.
I always listen to Kelsey's sayings when she's our producer. She's like, this is how it should be. This is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, everything's in its right
on
place.
The development into the year, all the players coming up from amateur, like the pipeline into Academy was full this year, and it feels like we really have come away with it, Desrex.
Yeah. You got to think about it. Proving Grounds just started last year, and an amateur team won it back then. Immediately following into the summer, you have 100 Thieves Academy. As Cubby really said here, the pipeline is working the way it should.
It is indeed. And speaking of the pipeline, we got a couple faces that we definitely want to highlight here into our second series. We do have Immortals Academy taking on CLG Academy first off, but a big highlight matchup because of the stakes, because of the history, because of everything going into this is Kenvi going against Ryoma. And the fact that these two guys have been seemingly a mainstay here in the scene in these last year and a half or so, Cubby.
I mean, this is a matchup that I know, we have a clip that Kenvi, he's excited about. And before I get further into this, I got to hear from Kenvi himself.
Yeah, going up next, y'all are going to be going up against Golden Guardians Academy. Are you worried at all about that, or how are you feeling looking towards that matchup?
The matchup is gonna be excitement since I'm gonna be versus my ultimate Yama. So I'll look up to our match in next 2 days.
It's always so interesting hearing back from Kenvi, and also the demeanor in which he speaks, but the fact that he is pumped up, the fact that he does want to go against Ryoma is something to say of itself.
Yeah, and as I teased earlier, the 3 players that won Proving Grounds in 100 Thieves Academy team last year, they're all in action today. The only 3 players that we have returning to the league is Luger, Puma, of course, and LCS. They're all in action today on different teams. And Kenvi, he wasn't a part of that run. He went with the LCS team to Worlds, but our last moment of Proving Ground summer, it was Ryoma hitting this massive
Yeah.
shockwave. This is what ended our 2021 season. This is what got us into the next steps and into 2022. And I think that the fact that Kenby sees that, respects that, wants to go up against his former teammate who they had so much success with, that's a big deal. And for Ryoma, I did tease that the teams that we see today, they are 2 best of 3s away from being in best of 5s and guaranteeing a top 4 finish. Ryoma has never finished below 3rd in Proving Grounds. He took 3rd in spring last year. He won with 100 Thieves as well. And I know that it would mean a lot to him to make sure that he is able to make his stamp, make his mark again on this league, because I think that he's been the best performing mid laner that we have had in Academy. And I'm really excited to see him in action today against his old team.
And it's so interesting, especially looking at like the tenure of both these guys and coming in to different positions in different situations, right? Ryoma coming over from OS, Kenby kind of working his way up through the system. Solara, do you have anything that stands out between these 2 players that you've seen really kind of be the reason why they are such rocks in the system itself?
Honestly, I have no idea. I really don't know their story very well, and like, I know they've been around, they've moved around, they've been in competitive for a while, but like, I couldn't tell you very much about why that they keep shining, The
lighthouse is there for a reason.
Yeah.
You don't need to know why. It's just
You're gonna see it today, Solar.
Yeah,
That's all
I'm
I'm saying.
excited.
Exactly. That's the beautiful thing about it, is we have all these wonderful players coming up today. And speaking of today's matchups, let's go ahead and look at what we got ahead of us. It is that Immortals IMT Academy game going against CLG Academy to start us off as best of 3. Loser will get knocked down to the lower bracket. And then we have Golden Guardians Academy going against 100 Thieves Academy in that premier matchup between Ryoma and Kenby. And again, whoever loses that best of 3 does go down to the lower bracket.
I want to point out something right here, that the Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves one, that match has some interesting implications for who loses, because the loser of that goes against the winner of 100X and Winthrop. So you could
Ooh.
potentially have a little bit of revenge coming out for Golden Guardians Academy, as they were fallen by 100 Thieves Next in the first circuit qualifiers. That would be nice to have. But then on the other side of things, it would be 100 Thieves Academy versus 100 Thieves Next.
Civil War.
So it's spicy. It's spicy, man.
I
It
like that.
absolutely is. And speaking of spicy, so we had Solaria on today, so we want to do something a little bit special. Champ picks are the key here. So we're going to go ahead and bring up these cards that we've made. Got a little bit of bingo going on, and it is called Champ today. So we're keeping an eye out on some unique champion picks, what these champions could possibly do. This first one is Solaria's Champ bingo card. So as you see, keep it general. I like it.
I like the freebie. Like, you just really took freebie to heart and was like, Zeriban, I can get that one.
I wanted a free space,
I'm suddenly feeling doomed after looking at this first one.
I don't know how you're gonna do Desiree. Says this next one is
no.
Cubbies, so it has a little bit more detail to it. I see the Wixie Draven in there, the Rock Monster.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's Malphite.
I like how Solaria's was Malphite duty, and then I'm just like Rock Monster. I guess we just all have different nicknames for Malphite.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on how that goes. Next, I believe we do have Desiree. Ooh, we got the pictures.
This is my
All right.
favorite. This is my
one
favorite.
Pretty good. I like this. The Jinx
All right.
Pentakill in there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Professor. I misunderstood the assignment, but I hope the A for effort at least pulls this up to a C.
I mean, if we get a 700 stack Nasus, I feel like you should just win the game. I think we just give you like the entire bingo card. Like, you just win.
True.
That's going to be 700 stack support Nasus, by the way.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay. We got a little caveat.
You
on
played
that one.
Nazari.
I like the Canadian sedge there. This one is mine. As you see, there is a theme to it, but I did have more specific champion things, but I did retool it to be very general. And I think, it's going to help me come out on top on bingo.
I like the Jin 4, and then you get the freebie because 4.
Yeah, because 4. I mean, obviously. And that little Jin, the green Jin, is going to be my check mark because, I have to have everything Jin skin. I was going to try to get them to make a 4x4 for me and just call it Jin and just have Jin everywhere. But I couldn't get that to happen. I think it was maybe a little bit too cringe.
That's cheap as hell. That's cheap.
That might be cheap. I'm just trying to win, all right? I'm just trying to win. But if you do want to catch up on any of the action for Proving Grounds, for Amateur, for the path to LCS, the path to Pro, make sure you go follow that Twitter, because that is where all of our content lies, where all of our information lies, and is path to LCS on Twitter. I don't know if you're not already following what's wrong. I've said this every single time, but there's seriously something wrong if you do not hit that follow button. The content is banger. And speaking of content, it's ready to get to the showtime. It is time to get to the action on the opening day of round number 3. So we're going to send it to a little break, and we'll be right back with Immortals Academy taking on CLG Academy. Don't go anywhere. Welcome to another episode of On the Range, y'all. This week, we're going to be taking a look over at the Proving Grounds, see what kind of creatures we got to wrestle ourselves. Let's get on to it now, shall we? We got Cal right here. He's got a little 9-iron on his hip. He's letting that sucker fly. Woo! He's going to get him, too. Gosh darn it, it's coming for us. It's right behind us. We got to keep on going. Kaido, get him. Get him. Oh, my God, Kaido, you didn't need to do that, but I appreciate you. Wait, what's this? Is Viper coming over, too? Viper, stop it. We're being sneaky, and we're going to pounce on him. We're going to be eating good tonight. Toast is going to lay a little trap on now for Philip, but he's going to throw the whole kit and caboodle at him, too, but he don't even get Philip in free. We find old Gamsu under turret here. He's going to find himself in a bit of a prickly situation. Them prickly bears sure do bite. He's in a 1v5 under tower, but just like the legends of the Old West, he will never, ever die. Remember the Alamo! Remember the Alamo! Woo! We got some mighty fine critters out there in the Proving Grounds. Gotta say, it's been nice to see some new ones out there, but gotta keep a tight leash on those wild ones. We'll see you next time on The Range. Welcome on back to the Proving Grounds, powered by Verizon. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Solaria, Deserex, and Cubby. We got a full house today, and we're looking at this next matchup with big old bushy-tailed eyes, because it's going to be a banger no matter what. It is just a best of 3 between these two, and it is going to be a hotly contested one, as, you know, IMT trying to prove themselves a little bit. But that IMT roster itself is no slouch, because you do have a lot of pieces coming together. It seems we were getting a lot of information from Pretty, from Joey in the combination of mid and jungle, but Chad is always there, man. Chad, the Chad jungler, Solaria. I feel like this guy just pops off in every position he can because it sticks to his name.
Absolutely. I feel like he just runs every game. That's what it feels like. He's just in control. It's great to watch.
It was so disgusting, too. The last time we saw him against Taco Gaming, I remember the stat, 9 kills, 3 assists within the first 12 minutes of the game. It was a disgusting Lee Sin performance from Chad.
Absolutely was. That Chad better not get the Lee Sin today, or we'll be seeing some more of those highlight reel packages. CLG Academy on the other side, our top regular season performer in the Academy split, themselves going from worst to first. And here we are, the shining stars of Counter Logic Gaming Academy, Dokla being the sword I feel like that the team needs to unsheath, reference to Joshi there. It is a fun one, especially when you're looking at this progress that we've seen for this team, Cubby.
And I think for CLG, like a big part going into this match is going to be the early game. CLG dominating the early games in Academy, averaging over a 2,000 goal differential at 15. Dokla, his own goal differential being higher than any other team that we had in the league at 935. But I'm curious about this matchup because the 4 games that we have seen between these two squads in the regular season, quite frankly, were pretty close. And I know that CLG Immortals both were tweeting like, man, whenever we go up against CLG, we get bangers. And that is exactly what we saw throughout the regular season.
I'm just hoping that we get my first 3-game series of Proving Grounds, because I feel like I've been left out to dry a little bit. But we do have a couple clips that we're going to roll here to show off some of this matchup that we really want to focus on, which is going to be the mid lane matchup. It is Pretty versus Triple. Both of them coming in, trying to perform as much as they can and be the rocks that they want to be.
So this game, I mean, it's not only Pretty versus Triple, but also this is kind of demonstrating some of the bangers that we had. This is a game CLG won. They overcame an Ocean Soul Immortals and a pentakill that Pretty got on Kassadin. Look at the Kassadin on screen. 12-2. This Kassadin somehow did not win the game. This is one of the craziest games that we had in all of Academy. It was part of CLG's 2-0 over Immortals in the second week. I know that in week 5, day 1, they met. They bounced back. It was a 1-1, but this was a crazy series that we have had between these two teams, and we'll have to see if, you know, some of the improvements that Immortals has made throughout the back half of the season, especially with some of those early games, come to fruition today, because they're going to need it against CLG, as we're about to see the pentakill.
It's so unfortunate. Every time I see it, we've watched this clip so many times because it's such a banger, but it's also just so sad.
It's the Kassadin dream.
It was even on one of the episodes of On the Rage, and it was so fun because it's such a cool moment for Pretty himself, but then the fact they don't even win the game, man, it's so unfortunate. But it shows that, like, the pop-up potential is there, right? Between these two teams, like, you can see where that instant gratification could come out with the early skirmishes and the quick decision-making, Cubby.
And yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, even, you know, seeing that last clip of Triple, having him show up later in the season is big. But as you tease, Mazel, do want to focus on both of these mid laners. And I think Pretty is someone that, you know, doesn't only have history now in the NA scene, but also internationally. Of course, he's always very proud to talk about, you know, how he's Greek. And he had some success over in EU. You can see that EU Masters placement, taking 3rd, 4th one year, was even in the EU LCS spring promotion back when there was relegations in the league. That feels like forever ago, but hey, Pretty was there, and he's been someone that has been good for a long time. And I know from talking with Triple before today's games, the one thing that he always really credits Pretty for is how consistent he is in the mid lane. We're gonna have to see if he shows up and is that consistent factor today for Immortals.
Exactly that. I've seen this stat or this, like, fun fact so many times already, but the fact that it's still after a triple cheeseburger, I love it. Gotta respect the 3rd highest goal differential at 15 in Academy, though. It is that early game focus, and specifically the early game spice, Solaria, as specifically looking at Pretty. I'm hoping to see the Kassadin. Maybe we see some spice coming out today. Do you have anything that you specifically really want to have as coming into the day?
I would love to see some hard carry champions like Kassadin. I think we're going to see some more supportive mid picks, some more utility.
Probably.
But I would love to see something like Kassadin or just some crazy hyper carry mid. I think it'd be
I'm
fantastic.
hoping. You're our good luck charm. That's what we're holding on to. I'm crossing my fingers here, but we did do a little bit of prediction gaming beforehand. So let's go ahead and throw up some of these predictions, see where everybody's leaning out to, see how everybody's looking. I know where I'm leaning, because I feel like I'm just sticking to tradition at this point when I'm a part of the broadcast, because I got 2 O's across the board for mine at least. But for this first one,
we are unanimous.
Gonna be 2 zeros across the board for CLG. Do you have any thoughts here, Solaria? Is there a reason why you don't think it's gonna go to 3?
I just believe in CLG. I think they have what it takes to be a solid, consistent team and just take it home.
All right, Desrex, do you have anything to say for yourself? Do anybody want to differentiate here?
I'm not differentiating at all. It's Faith Age time. CLG Academy have looked so good. Their early game aggression is to die for. It's some chef's kiss stuff. I believe in them. I got full faith.
And Covey, you have any last thoughts? A last moment to change your prediction? What do you got? Anything? Is there anything?
I'm not changing.
Right.
The one thing I will say is that I feel like Immortals actually have pretty good early games. They're the 3rd strongest in goal diff at 15, and I think they're good at early game. The issue is that mid game, sometimes they throw those leads. I really want to see if Immortals has patched that up. If they have, I think we could have a best of 3 that match some of the games we saw between these two squads in the regular season. And hey, hoping we see that.
I hope so too. I'm getting so excited as Champ Select is ready to go. So Desrex, Covey, go ahead and take it.
All right, thank you so much, Mazel, but we are ready to go. The Champ Select is already underway now. I want to hear some thoughts over from you, Cubby, when it comes to this champion select. One of the things I've liked a lot about CLG Academy is they're not afraid to blind pick their top. They go for these very aggressive lanes, and then they just play through Rosethorn as fast as they can. Are you expecting something along those lines, given that it's going to be red side CLG for this match?
I think the real core of CLG is that they are the best team that we have in the league when it comes to playing 3 lanes. I think their solo lane play, how they play out the 3 with Doko triple, is fantastic, is LCS level, quite frankly, from our top Academy squad. And Immortals, I think it's curious because going into this match, Immortals is the team that I would say out of all the Academy squads, we have actually seen the most amount of strats from, the most changes of identity. And talking with Chad before the games, he kind of views Immortals as a squad that's looking to neutralize what the other team wants to do, what they're really good at. So I want to see if we see that out of Immortals as, oh my goodness, Deserex, we have some spice already. Looking at the pick ban, that's a Twitch.
That is very much a Twitch. Over on CLG side, breezing over that. Early game aggression, early game damage, a lot of mobility, but the response coming out of Immortals, Twitch and Renata. Now, Renata, she has kind of fallen into this almost offensive support capability. So I'm guessing just trying to pair this combo together, trying to get that damage going. Renata can hold him down.
I feel like Renata specializes when teams have to jump onto you. And that's something that Kai'Sa, Lee Sin, we expect to do. And we now know that this Kai'Sa will be bought as Ahri's locked in for triple. It's his most played. This will be his 12th Ahri game. We should see some mid bans thrown up pretty to try and help protect that. Whereas I think Immortals has to get rid of some of the top laners and maybe set up Concept to get a blind. Concept's most played champion, it has actually been the Urgot. So that Fiora ban, that is something that's very good into the Urgot and some of the other tanks that Concept likes to play. But when you have a Twitch, when you have a Volibear, that tells me Immortals want to run this big, beefy frontline on blue side. Try and make sure that no one can get to the Twitch and just have the Twitch ultimate tear through whatever CLG wants to do.
And for CLG, so far, it's about mobility and damage. No frontline drafted just yet, but they will have the counter pick for this composition. First hovering the Lulu, waiting to send that over to Breezy in the bottom lane, paired over with the Kai'Sa. That's locked in.
I think that the Fiora, the Vayne bans, that's setting up for Sion. Doko's pick into Sion is Vayne. I'm expecting to see a Sion or maybe even a Mundo here for the side of Immortals. And then for Pretty in the mid lane, we could very easily see him pick up the Orianna. He played it in both games for Immortals, the first round that they played in Proving Grounds, and it's his most played champion. It's his best of all time. We could see that. The Rise, going to be a slight pivot. This is a good matchup into the Ahri. Not that surprised. And oh, okay, I got it wrong. It's actually going to be that most played Urgot for the side of Concept. We'll see what Doko wants to take into it. Camille would be an option. You can try and get on the Twitch, lock it down. Or could see something else a little bit more creative out of Doko. Really up to him.
So Pretty in the mid lane will have the Rise. And now we have our mid lane matchup established as Triple is on the Ahri. It's something he's played a lot during the Academy season. Over a third of his games played onto that. But the final lock-in for CLG Academy, the big man in the top lane, it is Mundo.
Dokla, he's throwing Concept's own champion pool at him. Concept, of course, known for the Urgot, known for the Mundo and the Singed. Dokla sees the comp that Immortals has, and I must say, Immortals, it is a lower damage composition. When you have the tank Rise, Twitch is going to be that huge hyper carry in the backline, but this really is going to be like a 1.5 threat comp. Pretty low magic damage. If Dokla is able to maybe stack the armor, he could be big enough to make sure that Prismo can pick the right spots, but I gotta say, this is an interesting look from CLG. A big core of their identity is playing those 3 lanes, playing with Dokla insides, and Mundo, he can take over the side lane, but that's something where you expect to be that big front line, try and tank up what the other team's throwing at you. So a little bit different from CLG, and I'm curious to see how it plays going into game 1.
I'm curious to see how Rosethorn's going to play this Lee Sin. Rosethorn has been very aggressive over on the top side with Dokla, but now it's Dokla on, well, a tank. He's on the Mundo at this point. I remember seeing, I believe it was the last game that we had out of CLG Academy versus Evil Geniuses Academy, where you just saw this pathing come out of Rosethorn, where he went for his blue Gromp Wolves, then just straight goes for the dive on the opposite side of the map after grabbing his Raptors. It's the playstyle that CLG go for. It's a change of playstyle coming into this match.
I love that you bring that up, Deserex, because I teased that I feel like CLG, best team that we have in Academy when it comes to playing 3 lanes. The other real core part of their identity that I would point out is making 3-wave plans with Rosethorn, using that lane priority, trying to get invades, trying to get advantages very early. That's why CLG has been able to average over a 2,000 gold lead at 15. And when you have the Lee Sin, you have the Ahri. These are champions that CLG have used to great success throughout the Academy regular season. I know specifically Rosethorn, 5-1 on this Lee Sin triple. His 12th Ahri game, he came in late, keep in mind, so this has been a champ that CLG has been really relying on. I want to see if they can utilize this mid-jungle priority and go attack bot lane. I feel like if you get Twitch out of the game, that's what CLG is really looking to do here.
Wild Turtle on Twitch, of all things. You know, it's not that abstract on him. We've seen him go on these very ham champions. Like one of his more iconic ones was the Tristana back in the day, where you just dive in as fast as possible. And this time, going to be on the Twitch, though, taking the stealthy route, but still that spray and pray, the rat-a-tat-tat, whatever it's called nowadays, can be a pretty good skirmish tool for those team fights.
And it does give Immortals this big late game potential, because Tank Rise, Voldabear, Urgot, really tough to get through that front line for CLG if they aren't able to get ahead early. So I think for Immortals, it's really surviving the earlier parts of the game, getting this Twitch to 2+ items, and then from there, letting Wild Turtle take over. Because Turtle, when he has come to Academy, he's been really good. He's second in all ADs, being ahead at 15. We've seen Turtle have games where he has had these big pop-off moments, has been able to step forward when other Academy teams don't recognize that he can. It's been good to see Turtle playing aggressive, and we'll see if he can use that with Immortals in our game one here, Desrex. Of course, a best of 3. See if he can move on in the winner's bracket.
All right, I'm already looking at my bingo card, Cubby.
Okay.
I'm already checking it out. You know, I have the conditions that I need to be fulfilled. Dokla, I need you to dive past 2 towers for me to get somewhere towards that middle mark. I think there's a slight chance for it, given it, you know, it is Rosethorn and Dokla.
Well, we'll have to see if the bingo cards can be fulfilled. And I don't know. I feel like CLG may not have that one on their bingo card of how to win the game, but we'll be rooting for it for you, Desrex. I'm pulling for you.
For me, please.
I'm pulling for you. Early game, we do have both junglers going top to bot. Not surprised for CLG. I feel like shutting down this Twitch would be huge for them, given that I think Immortals a little bit of a lower damage composition, especially later. It's pretty much going to be a 1.5 threat comp coming out of them. And if you can put Twitch behind, I feel like that could really allow CLG to hit this early game spike. But meanwhile, I got to pause. Doko just hit level 2, and Chad's already here at level 3. Doko's got to burn flash at least.
Jumping in with the flash, tossed around is Dokla. Dokla locked down. He's flashing into the opposite direction.
Wait.
Not much mobility left
He got out.
for IMT. So Dokla throwing out the briefcase. He's going to get out.
That's actually really clever from Dokla, and that's a lot of time that just went to the wayside from Chad. You can see he's hitting recall. Look at Rosethorn right now, Desrex. He's already on the red buff of Chad, denying that quadrant, so they get Mundo's flash for Rosethorn taking a triple quadrant. I feel like this is well worth it for CLG.
A good start for Rosethorn being able to utilize that action going over on the top side, start stilling out some of those camps from the Volibear. Once he's able to get towards that level 6, that's when that Volibear starts to become that little bit of a dive threat. And Chad is no one to be shy from diving your tower.
Yeah, both junglers did just ping each other out on the Raptors, so Rosethorn only going to take away the red buff, but that's still a win. He'll also take the crab on the bot side, whereas you can see Pretty's roaming up, but Triple's following. We'll see if Dokla...
supposed to go the other way around, Cubby.
Yeah.
No, they're going for the dive. Pretty gets that kill. It's going to be first blood going the way of IMT.
Oh, man. Pretty, that Rise, you get first move early in this matchup, Desrex, and hey, props to Immortals. Even though that first gank doesn't work out, Pretty getting on a lane, able to make it work in the long run.
Pretty with that roam up top, beating Triple to the punch on that one. Good start for him as he takes that recall. Will buy his Tear of the Goddess, has the corrupting pot. Heading back to lane, doesn't even have to worry too much, doesn't even have to burn his teleport. The wave's not shoved.
And we're going to have to take a little bit of a breather here, Desrex, because I feel like the plan for CLG, it still, for me, makes sense to go bot. And this could be an angle where Rosethorn starts to look. Triple just got shoved. He can TP back. Rosethorn has wrapped up all of his camps. This wave's being shoved out by Immortals. They want the base. Rosethorn is here. See if CLG can make a play.
Ooh, just barely getting spotted out. Flashing away will be Joey, waiting for the Sonic Wave. Lands it onto Joey, but can't get the follow through. Disengage coming out of IMT.
Well played by Joey. Able to make sure that Immortals can continue to shove this one out. Rosethorn needs to take the recall, start the cycle through his camps again, and props to both teams and both side lanes. They've been able to at least sidestep a gank from each squad. I know that Immortals were able to get it on the second visit up top, but Now, that is good play from both of these teams. I think Joey Doko both used their flashes very well. We return to what's going on in the current game state. Chad spotting Rosethorn on the bot side. We'll take away second Raptors. So good on Chad. That first gank top, it feels like he isn't too far behind from that.
They're just going to be robbing each other senseless with these counter jungles, both Chad and Rosethorn. In the bot lane, though, talking a little bit more about Joey, I'm excited to see him on this Renata, given it reminds me of the old performances in 2020 when he used to be with Wildcard. One of the members of that was Dragoon, who was a no team, got tossed to the lower bracket earlier. But just that aggression we used to see out of Joey back in that 2020 season, I feel like he can get shades of that with this Renata.
And I think Joey's been someone that has been a bit slept on as a support. Just being in Academy for a bit. I know that the first couple weeks for him wasn't the strongest start to his season, but I feel like he's really bounced back, started to play well for Immortals, especially in the second round robin. And we'll see if he can make some things happen for their team on this Renata. Once again, very good in the teams that have to jump into you, have to dive into you. It's exactly what Lee Sin, Ari, and Kaisa want to do. So see if those ults end up being big.
Ooh, able to pull back Rosethorn. It's an easy hop over to his ward, trying to get this invade.
In trouble.
Triple's walking into this direction as well. You get some priority over in the bot lane, coming out from CLG Academy. Not moving up towards the river, just holding control of the river so far for CLG.
Yeah, they just want that crab. Should be able to secure it pretty easily for Rosethorn. We'll see if either team starts to look at the dragon. As I think Herald up in 90 seconds. I think Herald could be really big for the side of Immortals because, as I teased, I think CLG's early game plan should be to attack bot, and a Rift Herald take could really prevent them from getting more from that as Rosethorn sneaks behind Chad and Pretty. See if they try play.
Yeah, trying just a little bit of ring around the rosies over this ramp right here in the mid lane. They don't have a ward there, so they can't even snare him over the wall.
All right.
Just a little bit stealthy. Yeah, just a handshake. Good old goodbye.
I like how Rosethorn's like sitting behind him like, do I want this? Do I not? Just gonna back off. Try something else later.
The control ward did its job there. Wasn't able to see too much, and it went both ways, all right? No ward on the opposite side, so a little bit of a guessing game between the two.
Yeah, but overall, did tease how Immortals definitely a team that, as Chad said, it feels like they can neutralize what other teams want to do. And credit to Immortals so far, Desiree. I mean, they are in the lead in this game, and they have this big late game scaling Twitch. They've prevented Rosethorn from making plays. Bot due to a nice flash from Joey. Even that play mid due to Chad hovering. I think this is a really good start for Immortals, and for CLG, I think if they don't snowball this game, especially if this Twitch is able to get ahead and keep on getting farm as Wild Turtle is doing at the moment, things could get hard for CLG.
And you can't sleep on Immortals. The last half of the season for Academy, we did see this aura about them. This almost Giant Slayer aura, as Magical put it on one of the cast for Immortals. So now, no greater giant than first place Academy seeding.
And that's something that Chad even hinted at. Like talking with Chad before these games, he feels like they are really a dark horse in this tournament. A team that, you know, not a lot of people are respecting. He wants that respect. He wants to earn it by taking a game off, or taking a series off the top team that we have in this tournament. And we'll see if they're able to do so now as Triple. He's going to get spotted out here by Joey.
Oh, pulled in, has the Spirit Rush, waiting for the lockdown, but here comes Prismal with the killer instinct from downtown. The payback will not be enough. Triple grabs that kill onto Pretty as the Spirit Rush forward coming out of Triple. The Orb of Deception, Prismal cleans it up. 2 kills going the way of CLG Academy.
And I teased the Rift Herald how important I thought they could be for Immortals, but it's CLG, the full bot lane rotation. The fact that Prismal was able to join that fight, whereas Wild Turtle was staying bot, that's what enables CLG to take that 2-0, and that's why they're going to pick up the Rift.
CLG Academy, they snap back at Immortals, but Immortals not looking to take this empty-handed. You might want to walk out of this one, Chad. Concept coming over the wall with the blast plan. It's going to be a 3-on-2. Still trying to steal away this Rift Herald. Will not be secured. Slamming in will be Chad. Goes right after Triple. The focus onto Triple as the teleport comes in from Pretty. Not even the teleport. The Realm Warp bringing some backup, but IMT will take a kill back.
Slower Rift for CLG as they sent their bot lane back. I think it's okay overall, though, for them as we're going to get a replay. It's a decent pick on the Triple, but when Prismal's able to join, it's just being outnumbered. The upfront damage from Ari, from Prismal's Kaisa, able to connect that early Q with the serrated Dirk. A couple extra bullets coming out, too. The early evolve. That's what ends up making sure that play goes in favor for CLG. They had the extra member, and Prismal cashed in.
So now looking at this game state, IMT starting to get control around the dragon side. You can see a control ward placed deep into the river. All these wards on the ramps of the jungle. And now CLG Academy will be spotted out, will be scoped at as Rosethorn goes over towards that blue buff. Preemptively moving is going to be IMT.
And IMT might be looking to contest this blue as Pretty's rotating. They haven't caught.
Ooh, triple on the sidelines. Rosethorn now aware that there's some shenanigans going off in his jungle, but he gets his blue buff in time, starts to back out the rest of IMT, so far empty-handed.
And that's big, because Immortals, they could have used this bot shove to maybe start the dragon, take that. Instead, went for the buff, went for the kill. CLG able to neutralize that. Don't lose anything out on the play. CLG has been able to even up this game. Dragon's still going to be up. We'll see if either team wants to set up a play around that. I feel like this is a point of the game where CLG, they want to start pushing. They want to start utilizing this Ahri, this big spike that she has early, to really do some damage, get out of lane, and try and attack this Twitch. Something that I said was going to be really important for CLG entering this game, and something that CLG, while it was a nice bounce back around the Rift Herald, have not been able to slow down the Twitch yet. That could be bad as the game goes on. This Twitch late game, we've all seen what Twitch can do in the later stages. It is insane the damage you can pump out.
One thing I really like for IMT is their response to this Ahri. Just having the Renata itself. The Renata as well as the Rise, I want to put that on top because of these snares you can do to try and lock down either the Ahri or the Kaisa for that matter. With the hostile takeover, with the, I forget what the snare of Rise is called, but just holding them down, stopping that Spirit Rush is a big, big tool that IMT can utilize for a lot of these fights as we head into the mid game.
In the mid game, CLG, you're going to take the second neutral as we are starting to get closer to plates dropping. I still have to see where Rosethorn throws down this Herald. I felt like bot would make sense, just try and continue to get this Kaisa ahead, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Rosethorn just throws it down mid, maybe tries to get triple to that Everfrost a little bit quicker, and then utilize that spike to try and make plays, because that is so big for the Ahri. Just being able to chain that charm with some extra CC makes it so much easier for your team to follow up on.
Now look at this, CLG starting to posture over around this top side for an invade. Rosethorn now noticing that the blue buff has been taken, but Rosethorn might have been spotted out. Has that empowered recall? No, goes right after the engage onto Chad. Makes it look easy. The duo gets the kill, and Pretty's not going to take that realm warp.
Yeah, sends the minion instead. Oh, that's a good run out ult.
Oh, fight breaking out as Wild Turtle tries to lay into Prismal, but Breezy returns fire. It's going to be a trade. Marksman for marksman in the bottom lane, but you can see the power of Wild Turtle on this Twitch.
Hey, at least it's a picks assist for Breezy, but Turtle, he picks up that kill. That's big in making sure that he's continuing to get ahead. As credit to Joey, really nice setup on the Renata.
Another fight going on. It's going to be a tough one to break out through the Mundo ultimate as the Fear Beyond Death has landed. Concept now underneath his tower being chased. Dokla, you need to go through 2 towers from a bingo. Not going to go for the dive just yet. Still going to wait for his dive buddy. Taking a look at that dive buddy. Rosethorn is in the mid lane, roaming up towards the top side jungle.
The Herald was dropped mid as well. Couple plates going over, 2 triple and Rosethorn off screen. So overall, I will say IMT, as we exit this early game, they've been able to neutralize a lot of what CLG wants to do. The fact it's only a 1k gold lead for them, I think, is okay for Immortals. And now Rosethorn, that red buff is not his.
Rosethorn under attack. A quick hop over the wall. Joey was coming into that direction. No realm warp available for Pretty, but low health bars on this top side. For CLG Academy, both Rosethorn and Dokla suffering a little bit here. Potentially setting up a dive is going to be IMT.
And Rise is on the way too. Both these members very low. Good setup for Immortals. This could be huge for them.
Going in after Rosethorn. Rosethorn pulled in, trying to get away. Will take the route towards the minions, but gets caught by Pretty. Now Dokla running the wrong way home. Throws in a cleaver, slows down Concept. Joey trying to pull him back in, but buying a lot of time is Dokla because turrets are falling on the bot side. CLG are able to grab that. Another one in the mid side. You may have gotten those kills, but you forfeited a lot of pressure in your other lanes as Triple goes for the tower dive. Can't finish it off. He's gonna go down, or is he? Yes, he gets Wild Turtle. Triple survives.
I think it's worth it for CLG. They take down Turtle. They set him behind. They get the bot lane turret as well. And that play from Immortals, the fact that Dokla was able to stall it out, Deserex, I think that was huge for CLG as they answer elsewhere.
chasing Dokla for so long. Dokla bought so much time with that disengage, and as you said, in the bottom lane, Prismal grabs a tower. In the mid lane, another kill grab, and this tower in the mid is so close to falling.
Honestly, it's a pretty even trade. I just prefer where CLG got the resources. Getting Ahri further ahead, setting Turtle behind, I feel like that's more important for where CLG needs this game to go overall. Because as we are shifting into the mid game, it's even at the moment, Deserex. And that Twitch, I'm very scared of Twitch as the game goes on. I do not want to see Twitch get the 3 items. I think that could be doomsday for CLG.
You don't want to see Wild Turtle unhinged. Let's see what he does. He'll flash into your entire team, Cubby.
Yeah, and if Twitch is at 3 items,
ready.
your team dies. That's the problem.
Only 1 item so far. We'll see if he can get there, get towards that late state, and be that Wild Turtle we're hoping for as the fight breaks out over towards the river. Chad versus Rosethorn. Dokla waiting in the wings, gets caught out by the Everfrost. Kicked away is Chad. Now waiting on this flank is going to be the rest of CLG. Rosethorn pulling them away. The Rift Herald fight waiting to happen as here comes the hostile takeover. Able to lock down Triple and Dokla. Not for long though. Not long enough to buy a follow-up. Dokla goes big. It's a triple. It's a 5 times knockup coming out from Breezy.
Watch Triple.
But is it really gonna be the case to give CLG a victory in this team fight as they'll go for a re-engage? Triple goes down, going lower is Rosethorn. He buys time with a smite. Is gonna be enough.
Oh,
no,
the
it
Rana.
will not. Concept stays alive, but Breezy and Prismal fighting tooth and nail on this fight. Pretty sends them with the goodbye gift. Pretty gonna go for the hunt onto Prismal. Takes the realm warp. Now on the other side of the wall, we'll find that snare, but Prismal finds the shutdown in the 1v1.
Deserex, we teased that every time these two teams met in the regular season, these games were insane, and this best of 3, it's living up just to that as both teams throw down everything at the second Rift Herald. And honestly, it was some great play, some great team fighting out of both of these squads to just have it go even. We could rinse and repeat again. That Rift wasn't even taken.
That was a wild fight right there. Everyone throwing caution to the wind and just going straight for the engage, not caring if they were the squishy, not caring what it was. It was time for a fight.
You ever seen a 5-man Lulu ult? Because we just saw that from Breezy there.
Yeah,
Tried to save Dokla. And honestly, this got so crazy. I want to credit specifically Pretty and Prismal. Thought both of them played this fight so well. And credit to all of Immortals. That flash from Pretty, that saved his life. That prevented the Ahri reset. That's what enabled Immortals to really walk back in this fight. But Prismal's Kaisa, oh my goodness, Deserex. The fact he went for that Q, was able to find it.
And that was almost game-changing right there. I really did enjoy the timing. Whew.
Oh no, the Q went
side.
wide. Oh, it just went wide.
On the side.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a bummer for Pretty, but I think CLG would take that. On the back half as well, CLG, they did pick up the second dragon of the game, so we now have the Hex Tech Soul on the Rift. Immortals will bounce back and take this Rift Herald, but it feels like the further we get into this one, Deserex, it's just getting closer and closer than ever.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now. This is an intense game. Both of these teams are bringing it. We already talked about Immortals trying to do this Giant Slayers route. Well, this is a startup right here. They take it to CLG. Rosethorn now looking to try and get a steal. That's not going to be the case. Chad secures it as the rest of IMT hold control on this top side quadrant.
I think this is one of, the nice things about the comp that CLG has is I do want to kind of shift this into the mid to late game. I tease that CLG, they're a great team when it comes to playing all 3 lanes. And I think if Doko gets big on the Mundo, yeah, it's a tank, but he's still going to be able to split push really effectively against both of the side laners that Immortals has. Hold on, gotta pause.
Prismal.
That's not his red buff.
Hopping away there, getting stolen away. A bear in your jungle. Stealing away your picnic basket. Red jam. Right in the jungle. You know, I'm going with that analogy, Cubby. I'm following it through.
I'm here for it. I think Concept will take that red as well. So I did see CLG later in the game for Immortals. I think the game plan, it's all about Ryze, Renata, Voldabear, just front to back, stall time, make sure that Twitch is able to auto attack. The fact that Twitch is set behind at the moment, I think that's really big for CLG, but Immortals being down 500 gold at this point, I think that's A-okay. I think they're okay with where the game state's at. They just need to get Turtle a couple more items and let him take over.
Now posturing up over towards this dragon side is going to be CLG, just waiting in this fog of war, utilizing the vision. Wild Turtle Got to be careful here because they want to engage on you. Triple going right after Wild
Look at
Turtle. Tries to
Turtle.
get him with the Everfrost. Out comes the Dragon's Rage. The follow through from
Oh.
Rosethorn, as well as the Killer Instinct. Wild Turtle staying alive. He needs to get a kill, but cannot find it to get the revive. Out comes the Fear Beyond Death. Gonna grab a kill for Concept as Breezy and Triple flash away and run away from the rest of Immortals. A 1-for-1 trade at the end of this team fight. Rift Herald placed by IMT.
And it's going to be a trade because Doko was not able to join. He's not going to try and rotate back, but I think that team fight's what we're going to see for a lot of this game. It is all about Wild Turtle. Can Immortals protect him and can CLG attack him? Props to Rosethorn. That stopwatch was beautiful as the trades continue. It's going to be 2 hours falling on the back half for IMT. And while CLG picked that fight, Deserex, they were down a man. I feel like Immortals punished effectively in the back half.
And I'm really loving what I'm seeing at the later stages of this. Actually, got to hold that thought because Chad caught out here by Dokla. Couple of briefcapes slamming into the back of the bear as Joey joins. Triple looking to come in as well, but gets stunned up against Dokla. Joey, excellent with
Nice
that
sidestep.
skill shot. Now here comes Pretty, laying into Triple. Triple looking to back off as Rosethorn waits in the wings. A missile goes through, but no fight gonna break out.
Oh, man. This game, Deserex, it's been back and forth. It's
It's
10
so
to 10.
close.
We're 20 minutes in. The
Goal's
goal
even.
is smack dab even. And for me, that's what makes this next Dragon real important because it feels like the one advantage that CLG was able to get in the early stages of the game. Minute 10 away from this. CLG going for Soul Point with Hex Tech Soul. I think importantly, that last skirmish, while it was a 1-for-1, look at Wild Turtle. He has no sums. When you are a flashless Twitch, you have no heal, no cleanse, no QSS. This is the part of the game where CLG, they can look to attack this Twitch. They need to find a good angle. And if they can wipe a fight, that's where CLG can get this game to go out of control because it can easily turn into a Baron if they're able to take down Twitch cleanly.
I'm loving the use of the payback onto Wild Turtle because you're seeing how hard CLG will go for some of these dives to try and catch out Wild Turtle. It buys him extra time to continue that DPS with his ultimate, to continue those autos. It's working out so well at this stage of the game.
We saw that in the last fight. That stopwatch from Rosethorn, that's what enabled the 1-for-1. If he goes down, Turtle would have lived. Keep in mind you with how that Renata W works. Now, we'll have to see if IMT can set that up again as both these teams posturing over the Dragon. You can see CLG, they have a bit of a fast track, but they're down a member as Concept's about to show.
You're just waiting for this team fight to break out. Triple is still over in the bottom lane, has teleport available. The rotation going towards Drake for IMT. Looking for the flank is Dokla. Looking for the flank is Triple. As a cohesive unit is going to be IMT as they are a 5-stack trying to defend, trying to get priority onto this Dragon positioning.
Look at Triple. He's about to be spotted going over this ward, but Prismal, he's laying all the poke down Immortals. They know they have to go.
Oh, it's just going to be one man in. They're sending Pretty all by himself. He puts down the Everfrost. He's taking a lot of damage, a lot of punishment. Dokla will try and hunt him down. IMT cannot get in. They're going to take a different path to try and defend their mid laner. But
Turtle.
Dokla will send him to the grave.
Oh,
now
no.
Chad looking to join the fight on the flank is going to be the rest of CLG. Jumping in is Triple. Gets the charm onto Concept. Concept taking a lot of damage. Dokla has fallen. Jumping in is
Prismal
with the Killer Instinct. Triple now looking for more. It is the cleanup. CLG Academy find the ace.
And Immortals, they were forced to engage. The poke from Prismal, it was too much. But that engage, it was too deep. CLG, they bide their time. They find the flank. They take down Immortals. And this is what I was talking about, Deserex. Who needs the Dragon? Go get that Baron.
CLG Academy, a great team fight. They pull apart IMT. Now the reward is going to be Baron. 23 minutes into this, they have finally found the driver's seat.
And the poke from Prismal, look at how low Immortals' health bars are going into this. This is what forces the hand. They need to pull off this play before Triple's able to find this flank, but Immortals, they simply just go too deep. They only send in Pretty. Immortals are now forced to wrap around and get in this terrible spot where this is what CLG wants. They want flanks. They want angles on Wild Turtle's Twitch. They were given exactly what they needed by Immortals in that fight due to the overcommit. And CLG, you cannot make that type of mistake against our #1 Academy team that we have in the standings because they will punish. That's exactly what they did there.
IMT now trying to get some positioning onto this Hex Drake. You have the flank for Concept. Got to watch for Wild Turtle. If they collapse onto him, we saw what happened last team fight. If he falls, it is doomed for IMT.
Oh, and the W's from Prismal, 6-1 and 6. He is online as the AP Kaisa. And Immortals, they don't have the range, they don't have the poke to deal with that. So Turtle, he's just got to step up.
Oh, half his health in one missile.
Here we go.
On the turtle, gonna follow through. Prismal taking down Wild Turtle, now looking for Pretty. He gets a double kill onto Chad as well. Prismal's an absolute beast in this game, number one.
Oh my goodness, Prismal's Kai'Sa, it's going off. I know the meta change for Prismal, the Kai'Sa, the Lucian coming back. These are champs we've seen Prismal do so well on before. Third place in Proving Grounds last year with Golden Guardians. He's won all of Academy, thinking back to his time with 100 Thieves before in 19 Summer. And Prismal, he's been stepping up huge. I know the second round robin, CLG dropping some games. A lot of that was Prismal stepping too far forward, getting too aggressive. But Deserex, when it matters most, when it's playoffs time, Prismal, he has found that balance. And he's found it against Wild Turtle, someone who traditionally in the LCS has been a player that I would oftentimes compare to Prismal as the same strengths and weaknesses. Prismal, he's taken down Turtle with some wonderful Kai'Sa play coming out of him.
And I'm going to tell you what Joshi told me last time we had a cast. This is only going to get worse, Cubby. This Kai'Sa, if you find a missile onto Turtle, his life is pretty much forfeit.
We saw it there. You just needed to wait for the second cooldown to come back. Now, fortunately for Turtle, he does have his sums back, so he can try and deal with that with a flash. So you can flash the W when you chain it with the ultimate from Prismal's Kai'Sa. That's really the only counterplay that you have. That or either buying some defenses, but oh man, it feels like, while I respect the game plan, I can see it from Immortals, this front to back with a Renata empowered Twitch that gives you some more attack speed, gives you some more autos on that rat-a-tat-tat damage from the Twitch. CLG's game plan, it's been too good into it, Deserex. The angles they're finding have been so good this game.
Second item finally completed for Wild Turtle. You're trying to find the ways in back for IMT, and it's starting to look damning. What was an even game at the 20-minute mark has now exploded. AK now separating these squads. 5 towers picked up for CLG Academy. They've netted every single dragon so far. It is a dominant performance as they head into the mid game.
And a lot of this, I just credit CLG's game plan. We talked coming into this. You got to get the Twitch behind. You cannot let Wild Turtle get off the ground. Look at Turtle. He's 1-6-5, and that really isn't to much fault of his own. It's just been beautiful flanks, beautiful gameplay from CLG to make sure that that Twitch can never fight front to back, can never find that dream team fight that Twitch wants to get.
Now the siege over in the bottom lane for CLG Academy as they start setting up for the inhibitor sieges. You have Dokla over in the mid lane. Waiting in the wings is going to be Prismal, trying to find his creative angles to land the missiles to poke out Immortals Academy. It's going to be a hard lane to siege, though. It's not exactly the best composition at pulling that off.
Well, the good part about the siege is that you do buy time for these Kai'Sa Ws to connect. And of course, if you connect one of these, they are empowered at this point, so you get 77% of the cooldown back. Pretty nasty. We did see the damage of that by the Dragon, but the fact that Immortals are sidestepping a few of these, very important for them. It has helped slow down CLG's pushes. You can see Immortals, they don't really have a way to deal with this Kai'Sa. I mean, a lot of it, I feel like they just have to find and engage quickly, not allow CLG to get this poke down, but it's so difficult at this point with how far behind they are in the map. As Prismal yoinks the Gromp away from Dokla.
I'm the carry. I
You need
deserve
a
this priority. Give me that econ.
He needs Death Cap. Okay, stopwatch.
You got a stopwatch.
Okay.
It was worth it.
Well, at least IMT get a little bit more time to breathe, but I think the big part about that Baron play is that CLG, they picked up the Baron, then they got back out on the map and picked up that Dragon. That means it's Soul point for CLG, now threatening Soul in 90 seconds when the Dragon spawns, and Immortals, they're going to have to find a way to get out of their base and try and get on top of this Kai'Sa before these Ws connect.
And it's not the only thing they can threaten. Looking at the Baron timer coming up at the exact same time, going after Wild Turtle.
Oh my goodness.
He just barely lives. Oh my goodness, that was far too close. I was waiting for it to happen again. Prismal really putting out the threat.
I love the timing from Prismal too, because him casting that ultimate, it was 75 seconds before the Dragon, so he has that ult back. So the fact that Prismal has the mindset to be like, you know what, this is an opportunistic pick. If it works, it works. If not, I have my ult back for the big fight where we need it the most. That's some of the things that I'm expecting out of Prismal, who this is his 4th year in Academy. I think seeing him develop from year to year, showing off these mechanics and increasing his map awareness, how he plays things out, been really good to see. I know it's like something really small there, but really like seeing that out of Prismal.
Been a great performance out of Prismal thus far. Really showing up in this first game of round number 2. Now CLG Academy starting to posture up towards the Dragon. It is Dragon Soul point for CLG Academy 29 minutes into this one. And you can see Prismal again and again, just trying to snipe out these missiles, just trying to find the poke. A little bit too close there as Wild Turtle, but
They gotta
here
engage.
comes a Realm Warp. This is the last desperation play coming out from IMT. Can they find it? Pretty leading the charge with a little bit of poke damage. Lockdown is Chad.
That's a big ult. That's a big
falls down
ult.
to about a third. Chad stays alive, but Chad will finally fall. Now Dokla holding down this front line. Prismal coming around the wings. Over the wall comes Rosethorn, uses that ward, flashes away. Now here comes Prismal, takes down Concept. Prismal is putting on a clinic for CLG.
Prismal
will follow through, and Immortals are routed. One more kill. CLG Academy take game 1.
It's the Prismal show, baby. As IMT, they needed to engage. You cannot allow the poke for Kai'Sa to connect, but when the Kai'Sa gets to stay on the map, when the Kai'Sa gets to keep on firing off these Ws, you do not have a way to deal with it. And Prismal, he punishes as 11, 1, and 8 going legendary on the Kai'Sa. CLG, they needed that performance. They needed to make sure that they were able to bounce back after that stagnant early game. And Prismal, man, did he deliver or what?
All right, last desperation play coming out of Chad, but the Nexus Tower falls, and so does Chad. One more teleport to come through. CLG Academy, they're first in Academy for a reason, and you're seeing that right here, right now. Triple ruthless diving onto the fountain. Game number 1, CLG.
And CLG, I mean, this team, coming in, I was talking about them like, hey, this is the best team that we have at playing 3 lanes. This is the best team that we have at playing early game. We didn't see them do either of that in this one. I mean, when you have the Mundo, that's a tank you really are ideally for wanting. But what did we see out of CLG? We saw incredible team objective setups, incredible flank angles, and some really solid team fighting out of this squad. And the fact that they're showing some of this flexibility in the best of 3, in the bracket, in the playoffs that we have later in the season, this makes our #1 team in Proving Grounds even scarier moving forward, Deserex.
They are absolutely terrifying. Hats off to IMT, though. They did do a good performance when it came to the early and mid game. They kept this even for the first 20 minutes, Cubby.
And that's something, once again, talking with Chad, he said, we're a team where we feel like we can neutralize what the other team wants to do. And they did that, to be fair. They didn't allow CLG to 1-3-1. They did not allow CLG to set up 3-wave plans to get in their face to find those areas where we've seen CLG punish so many Academy teams time and time before, but in the end, I don't think with that comp, Wild Turtle had enough protection. And man, did Prismal, Rosethorn, Triple, between those 3, the angles they found that game, Deserex, Turtle never had a chance to really set up for a team fight. He was 1-8-6 at the end of that game. And that's real credit to CLG at how well they were able to set up, how well they were able to execute in those river fights.
Performance from our first seed of Academy. We are going to take a moment to throw it over to short break. When we return, we'll have Mazel with us to break down that game we just witnessed.